Takutwa Chinguza, the black Tinder swindler, scammed me and several other black girls out of tens of thousands of pounds. And this is that story, part one.
Hey beautiful people, how you all doing today? It's your girl Destiny here and welcome back to my channel. How you are doing? Hope you guys are doing great. So this video is a story time and the sister is here calling out the black African swindler. So apparently this lady came on to share a story of how she was scammed by a man that she met on the internet, and this man came across like he was wealthy, he's rich and all that, and she trusted him, she believed him, and there was some money transaction that went on between them, and then she started finding out certain things. This man went on to tell her that he was going to help her get a MacBook. This man went on to tell her that he was a doctor. They went to the same school, allegedly, not allegedly, like the house. What she said actually, that this man came across like they went to same college together, university together, and he was portraying himself like a doctor. He travels the world all the time, and he was supposed to help her to secure a MacBook, but things went left. And he also traveled and his credit card wasn't working, so she had to send him £200. But this whole thing just started getting raveled. And she was talking about some of the tactics he used to really get her to trust him and some of the things he did to be able to get money out of her. Guys, this story is crazy. It's wild. And I need you guys to see this video. But before we get into this video, if you have not subscribed to the channel, what did I do to you? Did I offend you? Go ahead and smash the subscribe button. Please, thank you. And click the notification bell so you'll be notified once I upload video. I post video daily, 2 videos daily, and you don't want to miss out on the type of conversation and story time we have here on this channel. So go ahead and smash the subscribe button, okay? So with that all said, guys, let's go check out this video and then we'll come back and talk more.
Takutwa Chinguza, the black Tinder swindler, scammed me and several other black girls out of tens of thousands of pounds, and this is that story, part one. Takutwa initially made contact with me via Instagram, so he jumped in my Instagram DMs, not on a romantic vibe. He was just like many other people that I don't really know, replying to some of my stories. Initially, I was just giving very polite responses, the kinds of responses you would give to someone you don't know. That is until Takutwa said he initially followed me because I went to the University of Cambridge, and he said that he did too. He said he'd studied medicine at the University of Cambridge, and that's how he initially followed me and established contact with me. And at this point I thought, whoa, this is a fellow black person at the University of Cambridge. So this is when I started responding to his messages with a bit more, I suppose, enthusiasm and openness and warmness. So the frequency of messages started to increase quite rapidly, and I got to know him quite a lot. He got to know me quite a lot. And the real shift from Instagram DM pen pals to real life number, email, in person came from the fact that at this time I decided that I wanted to make a shift from a career in fintech to a career in medicine. Okay. And so I was applying for graduate entry medicine, including at the University of Cambridge. Takutwa, being a medical graduate from the University of Cambridge and an established doctor, as he posed himself to be, was kind of playing a really supportive role in this career transition. That's just to give you a basis on how I got to know Takutwa and how we built a friendship in the first place. I haven't mentioned anything about how he presented himself, and I'm gonna lay down the facts in part 2. Myself and several other black girls got scammed out of tens of thousands of pounds by the black Tinder swindler Takutwa Chinguza, part 2. So looking back and establishing this friendship with me, I realized Takutwa essentially had 3 main goals. 1, he portrayed himself as someone who was very, very rich, wealthy and successful. 2, understand and know my character so that he could mold his character to be a really compatible friend. 3, he simply wanted to suss out whether I had any spare money that he could scam out of me. But just to bullet point a few facts about what Takutwa told me he was. So he told me he was a New York born, privately educated, spoiled rich kid essentially that got bullied for being and sounding posh. Tried to claim that he had a very British posh accent because he went to a British private boarding school. He had an African accent anyway. So he said that he currently works for the hospital, Adam Brooks Hospital, which every Cambridge student knows is hospital because it's the main affiliate hospital of the Cambridge University Medical School. That his mother was still living in the US, kind of a high-flying surgeon. Among the things that he would tell me, it would be very evident from his Instagram stories that he was a frequent flyer, always flew business class, always at these exclusive events, things like attending the F1. And in terms of getting to know me, he invested a lot of time, months and months and months and months, picking up things that I would like in another person in order to build a really strong friendship. In addition to all the bullshit he told me, he also told me that he adopted 6 children in South Africa, that these children were HIV positive and orphans. He told me that he was buying a Tesla Model X. This was after discovering that Tesla Model X is essentially my dream car. And then he would really home in on this shared love of traveling. I traveled a lot during this time. I was out here. I was outside. And then in terms of kind of sussing me out and really figuring out what I might have to offer him, he would ask like very straight to the point questions. Quite early on now, I think about it, what I do for work, how I get to travel so much, what car I was buying and what car I had, and did my parents buy me this car, did I use my own money, what car my sister was getting for 18th birthday, and just really trying to find out like what's your financial status essentially. So right now I've basically told you this is what he said about himself, this is why we built a friendship, but I haven't really spoken about what he did to build the trust before launching the scam, but that will come in part 3. Myself and several other black girls got scammed out of tens of thousands of pounds by Takutswa Chinguza, the black Tinder swindler. And this is that story part 3. I was applying for medicine and he had done medicine at the University of Cambridge and was an established doctor, yada, yada, yada. A lot of the trust and I suppose like building of this friendship came through that very thing. We would meet up for coffees, for lunches, for dinners, and we would speak about my application. And he really solidified this friendship by trying to offer as much help as possible in some key ways. So he offered to send his personal statement. I will get back to this. The big one, the really big one, which was actually an integral part to my application, was offering me an internship with him at Adam Brooks Hospital. This stage, he's kind of got me in a position where I am reliant on him. When I think back, this was such a flawed process. Let's get back to that personal statement. The personal statement he sent me was absolute garbage. It was laughable. I still have it in my emails. In fact, I have it on my laptop screen right in front of me right now. At the time, I just thought he applied as an 18-year-old kid. Perhaps this personal statement just looks like crap because he was an 18-year-old kid. Every time we did discuss medicine and the application and all of these stuff, he was very, very, very vague. At the time, this was simply not something I could pick up on because I had not done medicine. I was not a doctor. I am a qualified doctor now. And my good God, this internship was a big one. This is a whole story in of itself. Basically got to the point where it was the day where I was starting my internship with him. He promised to pick me up from North London to Cambridge. And when it came time, he was ghost. And I was ringing. I got a call on a private number and they left a voicemail. It was a female voice. You know what? This video is getting too long. I'm going to leave it here and do it in the next part. I and several other black girls got scammed out of tens of thousands of pounds by the black Tinder swindler Takutswa Chinguza, and this is that story part 4. So I got a call. The line sounded very clear. It didn't sound like this person was in a casual place or was outside or anything like that. The woman explained that she was calling from a secretary office at Adam Brooks Hospital and was calling to inform me that Dr. Takutswa Chinguza is in an emergency operation and is unable to answer his phone. Everyone watching this is probably so much smarter than I was at the time. Didn't have a good stomach feeling about this, but I also just couldn't fathom that this could all be a big plot that was part of something else, which, my good God, wait for a few parts and we'll get to it. But I just didn't pick up on the fact that this was BS, essentially, like, long story short. And I just thought, oh, like, I'm a bit bummed. But he was very, very, very apologetic, very professional about it and everything. And I was cool. I understood. I had to understand. He was saving someone's life. Rescheduling with him became quite difficult. Doing this internship was so important and integral to my application that I couldn't rely on an unreliable source to make or break my application. But just said to him, do you know what? You're busy. Don't worry about it. I'll figure out another way. I gave my sister a call. She essentially called one of her friends who's a director at another hospital who gave me an internship for medicine. So that was all good. Everything between Takutswa and I was all blessed because I got to do an internship anyway. So no harsh feelings. I suppose we moved on from this. So at this stage, friendship is in good standing. So now Mr. Takutswa Chinguza feels comfortable enough to launch his scam. I'm finally going to talk about how he got money out of me and other people that accumulated to tens of thousands of pounds. Part 5. I and several other black girls got scammed out of tens of thousands of pounds by the black Tinder swindler Takutswa Chinguza, and this is that story, part 5. In this part, I'm going to explain how he finally launched his scams. There are 3 main ways that Takutswa Chinguza received money. Number 1, he makes it seem like he's making a beneficial trade with you. Number 2, apparent generosity on his part. Or number 3, a simple cry for help. In all of him getting to know me, he was really careful to suss out the things that I would purchase or need in the immediate future. He knew that I was looking for my next holiday. You know, I had the travel bug. I was always trying to move around. I settled on wanting to go to the Maldives. Takutswa, who came in saying, I have a lot of air miles with Emirates. Why don't you purchase a ticket from me so that you can fly to Maldives and back for £640. So I said, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Before I knew it, Takutswa Chinguza had already sent me a confirmation email of the booking with Emirates. At this point, I felt like, oh my God, I'm indebted to him. He's now £640 down because I said, yeah, that sounds like a good idea, very frivolously. I better send him that money like ASAP. So I had the confirmation in my email. After all, I had a confirmation from Emirates saying that I had a ticket booked. I saw him travel on his stories almost every single week, and so it didn't seem crazy that he had an excess of air miles. He offered my mum the same to go to her mother's funeral in Ghana. Thank God my mum said, first of all, why am I buying a ticket of a little child, and second of all, I'm flying direct to Ghana with BA. What do you mean stop over in Dubai? But we will come to how sick and twisted this offering was when we talk about how I uncovered the scam. So I was buying a MacBook laptop in the very near future. And so he mentioned that him kind of being affiliated with the University of Cambridge meant that he gets discounts with Apple. I mean, you can argue whether or not something like this makes sense to you. I remember when he said this, and I was thinking back to a supervision I had when I was studying natural sciences at the University of Cambridge. And I remember my supervisor getting a new MacBook and opening it during our supervision, explaining to us that he'd gotten this essentially from the university because he's the supervisor at the university. So then it didn't seem crazy to me that Takutswa, who's mentioned several times that he has an affiliation with the university through teaching medical students, receives discounts on MacBooks. So I sent him £400 for the MacBook, easy peasy, didn't have any question in my mind whether this would be true or false. And mind you, all of this was in very, very quick succession. So he's on a trip to Singapore, so when he lands, he'll be able to, you know, give me the MacBook. On his way back from Singapore, he gets stuck in an airport with credit card and debit card issues, and he essentially does his first cry for help. On my credit card, on my debit card, I need £200 to get myself out of this airport. Like, it's a crisis, it's a crisis. He expressed that he was really, really embarrassed to ask for this money. And it had nothing to do with financial issues, but all the things to do with like his credit card or debit card not working in that particular airport or something. And so what is £200 for someone who can then come through the airport, get back to the UK and transfer it to me as soon as they get back to the UK? And now he makes it over the border into the UK. And at this point is now when time starts ticking. I'm now like, where is my MacBook? And when are you transferring me this £200? I'm still not thinking about the tickets because that's in a distant future. These questions is essentially what got me to start to uncover Takutswa Chinguza as the scammer. But before I talk about that, so in the next part, I'm going to talk about tactic number 2, apparent plain blind generosity that he used to get £10,800 from someone I'm going to call Michelle, but tune into the next part for that. Myself and several other black girls got scammed out of tens of thousands of pounds by the black Tinder swindler Takutswa Chinguza. So in a previous part, I discussed how one of his scam tactics is apparent generosity. And this is a scam he used on someone I'm going to call Michelle. Takutswa, with me, was using this as a way to kind of build trust. With Michelle, was essentially getting £10,800. Takutswa would always start to confide in me about the fact that he felt like he was being used by friends that he had, being essentially used for his money. That people would take, and never really give to him. And I would always, you know, kind of comfort him and say, you know, you have to use your discernment, whether people are really using you or whether it's a real friendship, yada, yada, yada. He sent me a screenshot of that conversation where Michelle was basically asking whether Takutswa would be willing to pay £10,800 to pay off her uni fees that she would then pay back to him in installments. And he formed an agreement with her to say overall he's going to put some interest on it because he's going to lose out on interest, so that she in total would be paying him £12,500 in installments, and he would pay off the uni fees for her like in that moment, so that she was then able to graduate. This is after like months of talking about how he's being used by people, asking me for my opinion on this. And you know, he gave me a few bullet point facts about this friendship that he had. He said that she'd taken quite a lot from him, that she wanted to graduate and wouldn't be able to graduate if he didn't pay this for her, but that she was also leaving and moving to Africa the day after, and so there was no real way to physically stay in touch with her, but he would just have to blindly trust that she would transfer him the money back. And my advice was, it sounds like a no-brainer, it sounds too risky, like you'd lose that money. And you know, he spoke about, oh, you know what, you're so intelligent, you're so clever, you've got such good discernment, I'm going to ask for PayPal for a refund of my money of £10,800. So we had now had a conversation where he was telling me that his mum was even furious about the fact that he paid this £10,800. And he sent me a screenshot of the fact that he asked PayPal for a refund. Remember this for a later part of the story. But mind you, what he did not send was a screenshot between him and Michelle having a conversation about the fact that he asked for this refund. So at this point in time, Michelle's under the impression that university fees are paid and she's going to continue paying Takatsuchi in installments until she's paid him £12,800 as quickly as possible. And she doesn't know that he's asked for a refund, basically, but we'll talk about this. So why did Takatsuchi involve me in this kind of side plot of his scam? I think for two reasons. One, to even build further trust with me, and for two, also I think to show that he basically had £10,800 spare to frivolously spend and then change his mind on, to kind of solidify this image of like having excess money and not needing money from other people is the key point about this. I'm now his trusted friend whose opinion he's trusting to guide him to not be used by people. But what about the trust between me and him? Because the MacBook, the flights, the £200, let's get back to that in part 7. So myself and several other black girls got scammed out of tens of thousands of pounds by the black Tinder swindler Takatsuchi. So I've just told you about how I've transferred him £640, £400 and £200, and how at this point essentially he has paid £10,800 that he's requested a refund for someone else, but they are paying him £12,500 in total in installments. So where is my MacBook? Where's the £200 that you needed when you were stuck in the airport? This is when the crux of the scam finally started to show. And you know, the same excuses, being busy at work, manual evacuation. He would always have a manual evacuation, which, by the way, if you're not medical, it basically means scraping poop out of someone's digestive system manually with your hands. And always quoting that he wasn't feeling well because of the manual evacuation and emergency surgery and flying to South Africa to help poor children do surgeries for free, and all of the excuses in the world, but not able to transfer me my £200 and not able to give me my Mac. So at this point, I started to apply pressure. I started to really I wasn't engaging in normal conversation anymore. The conversation was simply, where's my MacBook? Where's my £200? And then in the midst of these excuses, he went, you know, I'm really sorry. I'm just so busy with work. Here is my ID. He sent me a photo of his driver's license and said, this is my address. This is my full name. I'm so sorry. I'm just super busy. Please just trust me. He said, this is my full address in the message that he sent with the ID. You don't even have to be that keen-eyed. You can see that he's covering his address with his thumb. And so he's told me his address, but I can't verify that according to the ID. And this is something we will come back to. At this stage, it's taking long. He sent me his ID. It's bought him another day or two of me calming down, but then I start to amp back up. And now I'm really getting mad. And I'm saying, after work today, I am driving to your house and I'm getting this MacBook myself. So I will meet you at your home. He sees the message, he blue ticks the message, he doesn't say a word. The moment work ended, I got in my car, drove down the M11 from London to Cambridge, and went to the address he told me he lived at. I could see the tail end of the address on the other side of his thumb. So I drove, I parked, I got out of the car, I knock on the door. A white woman answers the door, looks me up and down and says, I'm guessing Takutwa owes you a MacBook? or something like that, my jaw drops. So many things are clicking at this point. I realize I'm not the only one that's knocked on this woman's door. Oh no, 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 no. This is a common occurrence for her. She's had people who look like me knock on her door for promises that Takuto has made. And this is where the story gets insane. In fact, I can't even record it today. The police gets involved. Bomber jackets, big boys in bomber jackets get involved. Letters get involved. Court cases get involved. I'm going to have to record this another day.
Oh my god, this crazy is already sounding too crazy. So obviously there's going to be a part 2 which I'm going to post next after this one. So you want to check it out. But let me know what you think so far about the story. What are the thoughts? What are some of the things you're picking up from the story? I want to know your own thought down in the comment section. But like always keep it respectful. You're on this channel, we're allowed to disagree, but we do it in a respectful way. So go ahead, feel free and share your thought. But yeah, I'm so here for, like, I don't know how people do this type of thing where they trust someone on the internet, where to the extent that there's a lot of money, a huge amount of money like that being transferred. How? And another thing is that she said something about discernment. There's another thing, like I always tell people, like always trust your discernment, always trust your instinct. When you meet someone, there's always that thing that tells you if it's going to go well or not. But most of the time, we as humans, we usually ignore it, and then we F around, and then we find out. I don't know, not trying to shame the shit up, but I'm happy she's actually putting him on blast so that another set of people don't fall victim on this. But yeah, I feel like I feel like this should be a very common thing. So guys, always watch out. As much as, yes, they have a lot of genuine people online, just really being authentic and being true to themselves, there's also a lot of people out there to take advantage, to scam and do all sorts of things. So please be careful the type of information you really share out there, because I feel like some of the information you really share out there, some of the things are going to be used to manipulate their way around you. But clearly, when people show you who they are, like I felt like this lady gave this Takuto a lot of benefit of a doubt. But when someone from the first go shows you who they are, take them for who they are. And that's another thing, we've talked about it on this channel. When people show you they are, take them for who they say they are and who they show you that they are, because a lot of them will make excuses for them, so that we keep on putting ourselves in that position where they keep showing themselves over and over again, and we keep making excuses for them. I'm at this point in my life, I get this sister did it where she was really young and all that, but where I'm at here in my life, I can't even mess around. Like if you just show me and you give me a wrong vibe, I'm just like clicking you up. I have some of you guys that I talk to on Instagram, where like almost like bestie and kiki kaka, and it is what it is. And there are also some people that have messaged me, and I just went to mute on them, because I trust my discernment, I trust my instinct. Not everybody is for me, and I know that. But when you're in that place where you're trying to entertain everybody, and no, I feel like that's where you get to the place where you now start like. But I'm really interested to hear more of the story, to know how the story ended up and how he was being caught and everything. Like, I'm so here for it. So guys, let's go check out part 2 and know the full story. I don't know if you're like me, I'm just itchy to hear the story at this point now. So please go down in the comment section and share your thoughts. Share your thought about this video. What are the things you pick up on? Please go down and share your thought, but please keep it respectful. As always, here on this channel, we are allowed to disagree, so go ahead and share your thought, okay? Don't forget to share this video with somebody that you want to be part of the conversation, because that's what we do here. We have banging conversations, so go ahead and share this video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, smash the like button, because this helps YouTube to push out my content for more people to see, and that will be you supporting this channel and this guy here. So go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Deuces.